Nova Scotia's Meat Inspection Act and how it came to be an act of Parliament. All right, well, here we go. The first, I told you I was a teacher, warning. The first meat inspection acts in North America were reactions to a novel. Yes, a novel. Upton Sinclair's 1905 novel, The Jungle, with an all-star film adaptation released in 1914, worth checking out, exposed unsanitary practices at packing houses, the mistreatment of animals, the spread of disease, and the terrible working conditions for plant workers. He described the use of unsanitary and poorly butchered meat with the memorable and visceral sentence, "They use everything about the hog except the squeal." Because of a writer, an artist, a researcher, and then in 1907, a Canadian scientist, veterinarian, and politician, J.G. Rutherford, the very Meat Inspection Acts your omnibus bill proposes amendments to came into being. I commend this government for listening to novelists and upholding and valuing the important work of artists, writers, researchers, scientists, and workers about the concerns they raise to your government, so that, like with our meat inspection, Nova Scotians and visitors, farmers, and their animals in our province are kept safe, well-fed, and thriving. For Upton Sinclair understood that access to fair work, safe food, and well-inspected meat is in service to something much more important: our relationships, our humanity, the parts of life that make us feel most alive. Our own Nova Scotia novelist Francesca Ekwasi in turn acknowledges how a shared meal creates shared understanding. In Butter, Honey, Pig Bread, her first novel that was longlisted for the Giller Prize, won the Writers' Trust Prize, and was a selected book for Canada Reads, putting Nova Scotia yet again on the literary map, just as Rachel Reid's Heated Rivalry has done lately. Francesca writes, "Their relationship did not transform drastically after that meal of roast chicken and fried yams, but it unlocked a door between them." In The Jungle, Upton Sinclair writes too about the quality of the meat packers' lives. "It is the music," he writes, "which makes it what it is. It is the music which changes the place from the rear room of a saloon in the back of the yards to a fairy place, a wonderland, a little corner of the high mansions of the sky." End quote. And if anyone doesn't feel that Cape Breton or Musquodoboit Valley or any of your ridings aren't a little corner of the high mansions of the sky when a fiddle starts playing and a plate of well-inspected meat gets passed around, then they aren't paying attention to what Nova Scotia has to offer. This is the first time I have felt compelled to participate as a citizen in the process of a public bills hearing, because while I am glad our meat is going to be inspected with care for animal, land, and human, I worry that there are other proposed bills in this omnibus bill that will cause harm. Upton Sinclair's writing about the heavy work and poor quality of life during his time continues to connect to how the regular people of Nova Scotia are feeling deeply these days. As my students say, the vibes are bad. And I have come to realize how important it is and how connected it is to politics that the vibes get better. Sinclair writes, "This was in truth not living. It was scarcely even existing, and they felt that it was too little for the price they paid. They, like arts workers, were willing to work all the time, and when people did their best, ought they not to be able to keep alive? I have spoken at length to my MLA. I've written to the Premier, to the Minister Dave Ritchie, expressing my concerns. I have yet to receive an answer. I have signed petitions. I have attended rallies with a homemade sign that reads, 'Stop cutting everything that makes us feel alive.' And now I'm trying this, talking to you about meat inspection. I have some questions about the bill. Thank you for your time."
Thank you very much for your presentation. We'll now open the floor up to any questions from MLAs. MLA Wilson.
I'd love to hear your questions about the bill.
Thank you. I have a number, but why don't I start with the fact that, is that all right? Is that a too broad a question?
Go ahead.
Okay. What my first question is, why are you choosing to propose the Financial Measures Act as an omnibus bill? This has prevented me from actually speaking, as you can see from what I've said, about the things that concern me most about the budget at hand. So it seems like lazy policy to me. I have no capacity to speak to questions about the 22,000 jobs in this province that are being lost and the 2.6 billion GDP that are being lost by not investing in arts and culture and heritage. So why is this an omnibus bill? Why have you as government chosen to not have more of a democratic process around this?
So we ask the questions at this point. We don't answer them. So go ahead.
That seems odd.
Okay. MLA Wong.
Thank you for your presentation. It was eloquent. You said the loss was $2.6 billion to arts and culture.
To your GPD.
Through arts and culture to the GDP.
And where do you come up with that? Where do you come up with that number?
Well, just a sec. I got to indicate you. Go ahead, Ms. Jessup.
Oh, so I'm sorry. You need
That's
to
good.
acknowledge me. I apologize.
No problem.
This comes from a number of different sources that have been investigated through news journalists, just like Upton Sinclair. It also comes from data driven from the publishers' organizations across Canada, particularly connected to book publishing. It comes from the revenue that is generated from tourism, particularly in tourism that is not just located in my home riding of Halifax-Chebucto, but is located across the province.
Any other questions from someone has not? Just a second. MLA Wong.
My apologies. Thank you. So is that number representative of the total contribution of arts and culture to our GDP?
That's my understanding.
Oh,
Okay.
a second.
Oh,
Go.
gosh, this is hard to get used to.
Well, you don't do this every day. Go ahead, Mrs. Jessup.
Thank you. That's my understanding, that is the total from arts, culture, heritage, and tourism.
Does anybody else have a question? Okay, MLA Wong.
Thank you. So that's the total contribution to arts and culture, which is significant, no doubt. But there's not a 100% cut to arts and culture. As a matter of fact, there's a $16 million increase in arts and culture since 2021, since we've been in government. But so thank you.
Mrs. Jessup.
So I can address that statement? Thank you. Sure, but you've also chosen to remove $700,000, particularly from something I'm very obviously concerned about, which is the Nova Scotia publishing grants, and that leaves it at zero. So while you can talk about certain figures rising, you have also slashed particular projects completely, literally down to zero. This makes it the only province in Canada to not invest in publishing sector in its province. And well, you're also choosing to keep $1 million grant to Larry Ellison's Sail GP racing event, which to me seems absurd given how much if you're worried about the GDP arts and culture brings in.
Thank you. We're given a lot of leeway here. We're really supposed to focus on Bill 198, the Financial Measures Act, so we're going to restrain our comments to focus on the act at hand. Is there any further questions? Hearing none, thank you very much for your presentation today. We appreciate it.
I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you opening it up to the public to communicate with you as ministers and upholding that democratic process. So thank you very much.
You have a great day.
You too.
Our next witness is Chris O'Neill, who will be coming in virtually. I don't know if Chris there yet. Is Terrence Long there yet? No. Okay, so we'll maybe take let's take a 5-minute recess and we'll come back in for our final witnesses. Yeah. Both of them are virtual, yep. We have 3 more.
What about Colleen? Is she